Somewhere in the middle.
Every day, billions of us worldwide use social media to interact with one another in seconds. With our lives now revolving around what we post, do and see on our phones, we are now a more instantly connected world than ever, living in a globalised state of mind. Social media is a fast-paced and ever-changing world, with the most recent phenomenon launching in the shape of video app TikTok. TikTok allows users to create all sorts of videos, from dancing to lip-syncing, workouts and comedy. It allows users to become content creators at the touch of a button, and it is a new wave of app that means you don't have to have a huge following in order to go viral. We all know that with social media comes social pressure, with many visual platforms such as TikTok and Instagram promoting perfect bodies and bombarding us with images that have been touched up or altered. As well as this, what I eat in a day content has become increasingly popular, watching the diets of the fit and beautiful and then trying to mimic these ourselves at home with little guidance. There has been significant links to mental health through these social media apps, and toxic diet culture has become an important conversation to be had. I myself am guilty of spending hours browsing apps like these and falling into an unhealthy way of thinking without even realising it.
It's really interesting that when you search the word skinny in TikTok, absolutely nothing comes up. So they clearly have a word blocking system so that people can't find damaging content, but literally search low calorie or diet or what I eat in a day, and tons of unhealthy videos come up, including the hashtag eating disorder and eating disorder recovery. There's so many videos on TikTok that are encouraging a really unhealthy, low-calorie lifestyle. Something like this, where it's encouraging 0-calorie noodles, yet you need calories to live in a day and to even make your body function. So why are we encouraging people to eat nothing to lose weight? It's seriously unhealthy, and I want to speak to some experts who are going to tell us a little bit more about how this phenomenon has come about.
I'm Roxanne Cooper-Costello, and this is the TikTok revolution. TikTok has surged in popularity in recent months, with over 6 million active users in the UK right now, spending up to 52 minutes a day scrolling through the app. TikTok has often been viewed as an app solely for young people, with a target audience of 13 to 24-year-olds. With users as young as this using the app, I wanted to find out more about how the app works and how the diet and fitness videos we see could be viewed by someone as young as 13. I spoke to social media managers Rebecca and Katie to find out more information about TikTok as a new platform.
My name is Rebecca Holloway and I'm a social media manager.
I'm a digital PR strategist and I work at a creative search agency in Sheffield.
There's this perception of TikTok, which is it's just for young people. When you first download the app, it is a little bit bizarre, and the content that you get before the algorithm knows who you are, you're like, what is this? Why is this relevant to me? And some people, I think, just don't give the app a chance.
Something we were talking about in the office the other day was kind of the age demographic of TikTok, because obviously like the majority of people are between like sort of probably 16 and 24, but you've got sort of kids as young as 13 on there, but there's definitely been a rise in like older people.
The algorithm is based on everything that you do within the app. So it's how many seconds of a video you watch, if you watch it more than once, what you're scrolling past, if you're engaging with it, so if you're giving it a like or if you're commenting, and also ties into things like if you click through to that profile as well. TikTok is quite unique in that it's a platform that doesn't rely on that creator to have a huge audience to start with, to go viral, for instance. If you publish a video and in that first group it gets lots of views, people are watching it more than once, people are commenting, engaging with it, then it's going to get pushed again and again and again. And that's how you can kind of do it differently to other platforms, say, where you kind of need that big audience to rely on to get your videos out there.
I wanted to know more about how diet content was being pushed to an audience with no restrictions on age, so I asked the girls more about this.
If you are looking for that kind of content and therefore the algorithm is pushing it to you, you kind of get stuck in a bit of a filter bubble. Instagram, Pinterest and TikTok are all quite bad for that type of thing. There isn't really anything there to stop you. And once you kind of got your little algorithm bubble, it's not that easy to get other content coming in.
You know, the more and more you're exposed to something, the more you kind of believe it. And, you know, if you're lucky enough to be able to be like, oh, well, this is obviously a load of rubbish, I'm not going to listen to that, then fine. But like some of these kids that are like 13, 14, they're not going to even think, you know, if someone's promoting a diet of like 800 calories a day, they don't realise that that's like less than what a baby should be eating, but they might start to believe that. I think on like Instagram and platforms like that, it tends to be more like the influencers and celebrities that like are telling you these things, so you're a bit like, okay. But on TikTok, it's literally like your best mate is saying, this is how I've lost weight. And so I don't know whether maybe it's even worse because you're like looking at normal people that are doing these crazy transformations, eating these weird foods, like different level of people. It isn't really these influencers, it is just normal people that are having this impact, and maybe people are able to kind of like you know, compare themselves more easily.
It's now something that I feel people can't ignore. Like 6 months ago, you would say TikTok to somebody and they'd be like, oh, well, you know, don't need to worry about that. It doesn't matter, you know, not taking it seriously. Now is the time, I think, if you're not thinking about it already, you need to really consider like, okay, what's the strategy going to be?
It's just like having been somebody that's like crash dieted before, I know that if someone keeps going, oh, you look great, you've lost weight, you look great, you almost take that on. And then it almost becomes like, oh, well, they said I look great when I've lost weight. Do I need to lose more? And I just worry that these people will take this constant, oh my God, yeah, you know, it's like, you're not great until you've lost weight. And I worry that that's coming back in.
I found what the girls said really interesting. It's like the TikTok algorithm senses from your search that weight loss is something you're interested in, and then gives you no option but to continue looking at this content, even if it's harming your mental well-being. As I started to search this for myself, the adverts that were being displayed on TikTok began to shock me.
Staying at home, I gained a couple of pounds here and there, you know, but then I found this amazing app called Simple Fasting. The app helped me lose more weight than I could ever expect. Look, download the app right now and get your Simple Fasting journey started.
Once you're in a sphere of content within the app, it's really hard to change this, and it makes me worried that someone who isn't aware of how easily they could be influenced into what they're seeing, believing that videos promoting less than 1,000 calories a day is normal. I wanted to find out about what damage this could do to people's physical and mental health, as well as find out what regulations are in place to filter out harmful content.
My name is Charlotte Curtis and I am a qualified nutritionist, personal trainer and mindset coach. I find it really scary that we allow, even as an industry, because the health industry, and I think a lot of people don't realise this, the nutrition industry, the health industry, it's unregulated. So anybody can say anything and there aren't any repercussions of that. There is a real need for people who are educated and people who know what is going on, and people who can oppose the things that are being said. I think it's really important for anybody else to kind of step up and put content out there, and also educate people who are watching in a way that they know that content isn't for everybody. I mean, there's so many studies out there that correlate, you know, your nutrition to mental health, you know, and everything else that kind of goes on with that. And I think with the uprise of social media, particularly TikTok, because it is so fast paced, and you know, like any kind of TikTok video, you can only get so much in a certain space of time. You're only seeing a snapshot of what somebody's saying, or what even the message that they are trying to get across in a very, very big picture in the grand scheme of things. I think we do get massively, massively lost in how we should be feeling. And I think we do get to the point, again, in terms of like body-wise, if you are not getting the right nutrients, you are not eating to nourish your body, one, you're not going to feel great in yourself anyway, which affects everything else. So when you are not feeling great, when you are low on nutrients, it can affect your sleep. It can bring on, you know, a huge amount of sugar cravings, which again, when you are kind of zoned into this information that you are getting, it just kind of reinforces all the reasons why you've no willpower, why you are doing things wrong, why you can't stick to anything and everybody else on TikTok or Instagram can.
What I found really interesting is that there is a ton of people who are aware of this toxic diet culture and are speaking up about it online. YouTubers and influencers are using their platforms in order to try and spread messages that this culture is wrong. I wanted to speak to someone who has experienced their mental health being affected by TikTok diet culture firsthand. I met Emma, a 19-year-old from Bournemouth who's had the app for over a year now, but has started struggling with the increased growth in content surrounding dieting and fitness. She spoke to me about how this content has affected her well-being.
So Some of them are genuinely from like nutritionists, so they are helpful videos and they do health alternatives. But I think the ones where it's like comparing images, or if they're doing like intense workouts and claim you lose 1,000 like calories in one workout, you can feel quite disheartened if you're not kind of good enough to do them. And if they're really intense, or if they're such a dramatic weight loss, you kind of feel like you'll never be able to catch up to anyone else. So I think it depends who the like is coming from. I don't know, if it's some kid on TikTok, you don't want to believe it, but then if it's from someone whose job it is to help you lose weight, then it seems more helpful and more realistic. I'm quite a strong-minded person a lot of the time, but if I see the same kind of video over and over again, it kind of plays in my mind that I should kind of be eating less, or I should be working out more. And I get into my own head, you know, that I'm either not doing enough or I'm eating too much if I see someone who looks like me but is eating less calories. I feel like I should be doing more than I am. So I kind of put more pressure on myself to be like everyone else who I see, even though it's not always good for me. I think there should be more regulation from the content coming from these creators. I feel like if you're going to give educational information or specific information related to sport or fitness or kind of anything, it should come from someone who's studying it or is fully educated in that subject. It shouldn't just come from like a teen that you know down the road. It should come from someone who actually works in the fitness industry. I think they'd be more beneficial, especially if they have the qualifications or if they actually know enough about it to give true and reliable information, rather than just to people guessing or saying, you know, what works for them, but you know, what works for one person doesn't always work for the other person. And I think people forget that, especially when their entire newsfeed is filled with the same things or different things. You know, it can really, everyone's kind of giving out the wrong information, and the right information isn't really getting passed around because there's so much flooding everyone's timeline.
Since the filming began on this documentary, there has been a lot of news about TikTok going around. It was announced this week that Donald Trump was trying to ban TikTok from the US. TikTok is a Chinese-owned app, and America believes that they are using the app to take intelligence and information about US citizens and use it against the US. Now, there's no proof to say that this is what is happening. It's very much been announced on a whim this week, and it's not even sure whether it will be actioned, but it goes to show how something as insignificant as a social media app that people use to post videos and have fun has such a significant effect on relations in other countries. I think this shows that TikTok is a really relevant issue to be talking about. I still believe that its mental health links are scary, and I think we need education to use it. Through the research that we've looked at over the course of making this documentary, I can completely see how more work needs to be done in order for people to understand the dangers of what is going on. The health industry needs restrictions placed on it that are currently not available, and it's how we move forward and get these things to happen that is the next steps to make TikTok, social media and the health and fitness world a safer place for everyone to be.